Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking what could be a dry, standard SWOT analysis and turning it into a high-stakes look at Amazon's fight for absolute dominance in India. I mean, we're not just talking about moving boxes from point A to point B here. This is a complex, multi-billion-dollar chess match in literally one of the most rapidly expanding consumer markets on the planet. So to really understand how this global titan is maneuvering, we've got to break down the board. All right, let's quickly hit our agenda. We'll be mapping out this epic corporate contest across 4 key strategic battlegrounds: the giant's arsenal, cracks in the armor, the next frontiers, and finally, the approaching storm. Let's get right into it. Starting things off with Section 1, the giant's arsenal. We really need to understand the immense, sheer power Amazon brings to the Indian market right out of the gate. So, their foundational weapon? It's a globally recognized brand that immediately commands consumer trust. And in the Indian retail world, where consumers are incredibly discerning and super brand conscious, this is absolutely the bedrock of success. When a user opens that app, they aren't just engaging with some random store. They're interacting with a name that carries immense global weight and, honestly, an expectation of total reliability. In an emerging market that can sometimes feel a bit chaotic, Amazon arrives on the battlefield with that crucial credibility already locked in. But here's the thing, trust requires flawless execution, right? They back up that massive brand name with cutting-edge AI capabilities that process petabytes of consumer data. Every single recommendation, every perfectly targeted search result you see, it's all driven by this massive, invisible technological engine designed to completely remove friction from the buying process. We aren't just talking about basic algorithms here. This is highly sophisticated machine learning that's constantly adapting to very specific regional shopping habits all across the subcontinent. It literally anticipates what you need before you even finish typing it into the search bar. And that tech engine? It powers an incredibly efficient logistics network. Figuring out how to deliver an extensive product range across India's vast, geographically diverse, and let's face it, sometimes infrastructure-challenged terrain is a monumental achievement. Just think about the sheer logistics of navigating highly congested megacities, remote rural villages, and literally everything in between, all while maintaining strict delivery guarantees. This network isn't just a delivery system. It's a massive, extremely capital-intensive moat protecting their business from newer entrants who just cannot replicate this kind of scale overnight. Now, this well-oiled machine is actually fueled by a massive ecosystem of local third-party merchants. This ensures unparalleled product variety that's tailored to very specific regional tastes. India isn't just one monolith, right? It's a collection of incredibly diverse micro-markets, and empowering those local sellers is really the only way to cater to that. But all that variety means nothing without reliability. That's exactly why their robust customer service acts as this crucial safety net. By providing standardized, global-level support, they give everyday buyers the absolute confidence to transact with independent, relatively unknown sellers. But wait, here's the absolute strategic masterstroke. The true anchor locking in all this value is Amazon Prime. It's not just some premium loyalty program, it is a fundamental behavioral shift. By bundling shopping, streaming entertainment, and rapid delivery, they essentially transform sporadic buyers into a highly captive audience. It creates this incredibly powerful ecosystem where the cost of leaving just becomes too high for the consumer. It is the ultimate customer retention flywheel, perfectly engineered so that once you enter the Amazon universe, you kind of have very little reason to ever leave. So, looking at an arsenal this ridiculously formidable, we have to pause and ask a big question. Is this e-commerce giant truly invincible? With an ecosystem this massive and heavily fortified, what could possibly go wrong? Well, it's time to look beneath the surface. That brings us right into our second section, cracks in the armor. We're going to look closely at the internal weaknesses actually threatening them from within. Here is the ultimate double-edged sword of their entire business model. The very operational scale that serves as their massive strength, it also brings the harsh reality of truly staggering operating and logistics costs. Dominating a subcontinent as vast as India requires burning through incredible amounts of capital. Maintaining massive fulfillment centers, managing a literal army of delivery personnel, and keeping that logistical moat deep, it puts unrelenting systemic pressure on their profit margins. Growth at this sheer scale is, quite frankly, unbelievably expensive. Furthermore, that heavy dependence on a massive third-party seller ecosystem introduces some severe quality control headaches, specifically counterfeits. Policing millions of independent merchants is a daunting, virtually impossible task to execute flawlessly. And the stakes here are incredibly high. Even just a handful of high-profile cases involving fake goods can instantly erode that hard-earned consumer trust we talked about earlier. In a market where brand reputation is literally everything, counterfeit products are essentially a poison that can quietly destabilize the entire platform. And acting as a constant, grinding internal friction point are the notorious regulatory challenges specific to operating in India. You see, the rules governing foreign-owned e-commerce platforms aren't just strict. They are frequently updated and highly scrutinized. This forces Amazon into this perpetual, exhausting dance of constantly pivoting their operational structures, legal frameworks, and supply chain logistics just to remain compliant. It is a massive, massive drain on resources and agility, turning what should be a fairly straightforward retail operation into a highly complex legal tightrope walk. But despite these cracks, Amazon is a remarkably forward-looking company. They're already eyeing the next territories to conquer, which brings us to our third section, the next frontiers. Even with those hurdles, they have a brilliant, perfectly sequenced roadmap for expansion. It's like a strategic chain reaction. Step 1, increasing digital payment adoption across the country. This directly unlocks Step 2, massive growth in non-metro Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. We're talking about hundreds of millions of upwardly mobile consumers here. Once those populations are transacting digitally and comfortably, well, that paves the way for Step 3, rolling out high-frequency grocery and quick commerce services to an entirely new, incredibly vast user base. It is a highly calculated, step-by-step march straight into India's economic heartland. And looking beyond just physical goods, the digital frontier offers immense upside. We're looking at deeply integrated AI-driven shopping experiences designed to make purchasing entirely frictionless, highly personalized, and fully embedded into everyday digital life. Parallel to retail, we absolutely cannot ignore the sheer powerhouse that is Amazon Web Services. Expanding cloud computing and digital infrastructure in a rapidly digitizing economy provides a massive, high-margin opportunity. And this digital dominance is absolutely crucial, because those high margins, they're exactly what's needed to offset their intense retail operating costs. But the horizon is definitely getting dark, bringing us to our final section, the approaching storm. These are the external threats actively gathering right now to challenge the empire. The greatest external threat by far is a multi-front war against a really formidable roster of local rivals. I mean, Amazon isn't just fighting a single competitor here. They are battling heavyweights like Flipkart, Meesho, Geomart, and Tata Neu. These are massive local conglomerates with deep pockets, serious institutional backing, and nimble innovators who possess an inherent, nuanced understanding of the Indian consumer that a foreign entity really struggles to replicate. They are deeply entrenched in the local fabric, and they are fighting fiercely for absolutely every single inch of market share. Naturally, this highly crowded battlefield results in brutal price competition. Everyone is fighting for the exact same Indian consumer's wallet, driving prices and, of course, margins relentlessly downward in a pure war of attrition. And while they're fighting this whirling price war, they are simultaneously dodging governmental maneuvers. Policymakers continuously tighten regulations, specifically to level the playing field for local businesses and protect domestic retail interests. It creates a highly volatile external environment where the rules of engagement are just constantly shifting out of Amazon's favor. Add to this the macroeconomic storms. You've got rising global logistics and fuel costs, squeezing their already razor-thin operational margins even tighter. Every single fluctuation in global oil prices directly impacts the cost of moving millions of packages. And looming over all of it are ever-present cybersecurity threats, because as hundreds of millions of new users come online and tie their highly sensitive financial data to these platforms, securing that massive digital infrastructure becomes a high-stakes, non-stop battle against incredibly sophisticated threat actors. So the culmination of this entire analysis really boils down to an epic standoff. On one side, you have Amazon's relentless push, leveraging AI, global scale, deep capital reserves, and technological supremacy to just force their way forward. On the other side, you have the immovable reality of India's strict government regulations and deeply entrenched local conglomerates that are specifically designed to foster fierce domestic competition and keep foreign giants in check. It's the classic unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. I'll leave you with this final thought to keep in mind the next time you order a package. Will technological innovation and sheer global scale ultimately win the day? Or will the combined storm of local regulations and fierce domestic rivals prove too much for even the Amazon empire to overcome? That is the billion-dollar question. Thank you for diving into this explainer with me. Keep learning and stay focused.